Hi, I'm Jacqueline Raposo of www.thedustybaker.com. Gluten-free and allergy alternative recipes can be a little bit frustrating and can make for one very, very messy kitchen. But I hope my updated classics and fun flavor combinations show you that with a little bit of mess, a lot of fun, and a whole lot of love, even a dusty baker can produce delectable results. Here we go. Gluten-free banana nut muffins. If you're not familiar with gluten-free baking, muffins are a great way to start. They're rather forgiving. And we are actually not going to use any white or refined sugar in this recipe as well. We're going to use bananas for sweetener and a little bit of maple syrup. But first we want to get our dry ingredients together. If you want to use an all-purpose gluten-free flour, again, muffins are a good one to start with. But I mix my own flours, which is why my kitchen is so darn dusty sometimes. So I've got 1 cup of brown rice flour. And then because I love the sweetness of millet, I have half a cup of millet flour. This beautiful golden flour. A half a cup of cornmeal. This is both for texture and because it's so sweet and lovely. And a half a cup of tapioca starch. You can use cornstarch, you can use potato starch. I don't really use it, but you can. Arrowroot starch. That's what's going to bind it together for us is our starch. And then to that, I'm adding 1 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum. It's going to keep everything together. Especially for muffins, if you can't digest xanthan gum, putting 2 tablespoons of flax meal in helps. You can even dilute it with a tiny little bit of water until it starts gelling, and that's going to sort of help you along. 2 teaspoons of baking powder. A half teaspoon of, oh, that's my baking soda. Silly baking soda. A half teaspoon of baking soda. And a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You can use a little bit more salt if you want. To me, because we're using nuts for this, a 1/4 teaspoon is plenty. So I'm going to quickly give those a whisk. So pretty. Pretty flowers. Oh, my oven is preheated to 350 degrees. This makes about 18 or so muffins. So I have my muffin tin greased with a little bit of oil, and then I use some white rice flour, which is grainy to me, to dust it, so that way our muffins are going to pop out rather easily. So there's my dry ingredients. So into my standing mixer with the whisk attachment, you can also do this with a hand mixer, I'm going to throw in a half a cup of unsalted butter that's at room temperature. So it's 1 stick. I'm going to stick that on there and I'm going to start beating it until it's light and fluffy. It's going to get a little bit pale. Now while that beats, I'm going to tell you about my bananas. I have 3 bananas in here. I normally like to use bananas that are almost black. But I bought these about 4 days ago, and I put them into a paper bag because you want them to get really dark on the outside. And they weren't quite dark enough for me. We want them to really be sweet. So what I did is I cut them up, and I put them in the microwave for like 3 minutes or so. And so you can see they sort of liquefy a tiny bit. The smell is so strong of the sweetness of the sugar in them. So that's sort of the texture and the sugar level I want the bananas at. If these were pretty much black outside, I wouldn't need to do that. Oh, perfect. So my butter is nice and pale. So I'm adding a half a cup of dark maple syrup. Do not use pancake syrup. It's not the same thing. If you look at the ingredients on a pancake syrup, it's going to have 7, 8, 10, 15 different things in it. This is 100% pure maple syrup. So now my butter is starting to look funky in there. I promise it's gonna be all right. I'm going to stop my mixer very quickly. Ow! I always do that. I'm so impatient. Stop my mixer, and it's not pretty in there right now. But like I said, I promise it's going to come together. There we go. Now I've got 2 large eggs at room temperature that I'm going to stick in sort of one at a time there. Glop it in. It looks even uglier now in there. It's all curdled and gross. I'm sure somebody's going to be like, there's a much prettier way to do that. And I will agree. But you know what? These come out wonderfully, deliciously. So now that that's beautifully curdled, I'm going to, actually we're going to do a tiny bit, there we go. I'm going to slow down my mixer. Since I'm left-handed, I'm going to slightly come to this side and slowly add my flour. There we go, and then while that's going, I'm going to add my banana. So it ends up being about 1 1/4 cups. It's not really that important. Like I said, bananas are a little bit more forgiving. See, it's starting to look really pretty. I get excited when things turn out the way I want them to. Perfect. So I'm gonna just take this off, tap it out, to make sure I get all the muffin lovin'. Muffin lovin', that sounds wrong. So I've got my beautiful muffin batter here. It's beautifully light and fluffy. Now muffins, I have a basic batter that I use, and then you can put in any type of fruit. You can make them with pumpkin, you can use applesauce. I love fresh lemon zest and fresh lemon juice in my muffins. Actually, I could put a good teaspoon of lemon juice in this, it'd be delicious. And now I'm just adding half a cup of ground walnuts, hazelnuts, almonds, pecans, whatever you want. I don't make streusel toppings for most muffins. I like my muffins to be sort of hearty. But if you want, you can mix some oatmeal with some brown sugar and nuts and sprinkle that on top and bake it in. I don't know, I'm a New Englander. I like my muffins to be hearty and somewhat healthy. Healthy said in quotes. So now I'm going to slide all that over. I've got my muffin tin prepared. My oven's at 350, and I'm going to start scooping. This is like about a quarter cup in there. And so it's almost to the rim. And I'm not going to worry about how smooth these are on top. You could use oversized muffin tins for this. I get jealous when I go to coffee shops and I see these beautiful big muffins. And of course, most gluten-free muffins in packages are teeny. So sometimes I make them in huge muffin tins. So that way I can feel indulgent and like I'm part of the glutinous world. So I'm going to keep doing this, and I'm going to fill around 18 muffin cups and stick them in the oven for, again, around 18 minutes at 350. I'm going to check them at 16. Sometimes they go to 20. It depends on exactly how hot my oven is. And when we come back, we're going to have these beautiful banana nut muffins. So our banana nut muffins have come out of the oven, and they smell amazing. I love how rustic muffins look. They're all different, very, very special. So I've got my mini spatula. It's one of my favorite little kitchen tools, and I'm going to pick this one. I'm just going to pop it right out. Oh, I wish you were here. It smells so good. It's still nice and warm. They've been resting for about 8 minutes or so. Now I just want to show you what they look like inside. Look at that. You can see the little specks from the banana. You can see some of the walnuts in there. They're so nice and squishy. I don't know why I said that so evilly. So here we go, our gluten-free banana nut muffins. I love it. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Jacqueline Raposo. For more gluten-free and allergy-friendly recipes, join me at www.thedustybaker.com. Thanks.